Welcome back to another episode of the Bourbon Lens on site here at the University of Kentucky. Yes, for all you Ohio State people, it is the University of Kentucky as well. And we are excited because the University of Kentucky partnered with James B. Beam Institute, and they now have this cool thing here on the College of Agriculture, and we're here to get an inside look at that, but also talk to the Estate Whiskey Alliance team. So sit back and buckle into the latest episode of the Bourbon Lens. Estate Whiskey team, thank you all for having us today here on site on a dreary day in Lexington, always full of traffic, but excited to have you all be a part of the podcast. And I'll allow you all to introduce yourselves and what you all do for the Estate Whiskey Alliance.
Absolutely. Well, we appreciate you guys coming here and hanging out with us today to talk a little bit more about the Estate Whiskey Alliance, some of the exciting things that are going on here at the James B. Beam Institute here, which is where we're recording from, by the way. I'm Landon Borders. I'm the director of the Estate Whiskey Alliance. I work in our innovation group here at the University of Kentucky, UK Innovate. And this is one of the many programs that we've developed over the course of the past several years to really create impact for our partners that are working with the university.
Yeah. Thank you all for making the trek from Louisville. Appreciate it. So I'm Alexa Narel, and I'm the operations manager for the Alliance. So I kind of just support day-to-day activities, facilitating things like this, getting to talk to people like you all, talking to new members, figuring out how to get the word out about the Alliance, about our certified products. Just, trying to get the word out.
Yeah, I mean, that's a big thing to do in a crowded space, right? In bourbon and whiskey, there's a lot of things. And sometimes we focus so much on the front label, we don't necessarily look on the back label or think about how it's made. And special shout out, University of Kentucky Agriculture. I was one of those members here when I was at Kentucky, when I was playing in that stadium. It was Commonwealth Stadium at the time. Now it's Kroger Field. But I just realized my two buildings that I went to school in are no longer there. They're all new buildings.
Yeah, and the two remaining buildings are getting knocked down soon. So.
Yeah, I had one rough class in the basement over there.
Of Garrigus?
Yeah.
So many memories.
So many memories.
You're keeping us on pins and needles here. What was the class?
Oh, I was an agricultural economics major.
Yeah.
And it was agricultural economics we had in the basement. And it was just dreary and dungeony in there. Yeah. And all of my teammates would be in the back sleeping, and I'm like trying to pay attention. Rough time.
I have to say, so I was a food science major, and so I also had rough classes in the basement of Garrigus, but mine were meat science. So we were slaughtering and butchering like cows and deer and everything. So different
experience. Mine was doing mathematical problems. We would see it and smell it and stuff. But my most difficult class was agricultural policy in one of the buildings right over here, and it was at 6:00 at night, and it was an hour and a half class
at dinner time.
Ag policy
that's rough, man.
In winter was rough. Ag law was probably my favorite class that we had, and it was a good time. It was also during the 2020 or 2012 national championship run. So Darius Miller's in my class, so got to talk to Darius about the basketball games in between.
Nice. Legend.
Law.
Yeah.
But anywho, I'm a proud ag econ major here at the University of Kentucky, so it's always good to see.
Love it. And as you guys can tell, I mean, tons of investment and infrastructure here.
Yeah.
This facility's amazing. Would love to host folks here, show them around. It's really neat. And I think we've got, $10 billion of active infrastructure projects going on at the university, not to mention what's happened over the last 20 years. I mean, it's really transformed just since you were here. Certainly when I was here a long time ago, it looks quite different. But we're really grateful for all the investment in the university and the impact we can make on Kentucky.
Yeah, I mean, the craziest thing and the nicest thing around was Willie T. Back in the day. That was like the newest invention. And then Gatton got redone, and then the law school got redone, and then they knocked down dorms, and the 90 got transformed. It was just all of a really quick transformation. And it's really cool to see Lexington evolve under Dr. Capilouto and all the people he's hired and continue to grow. And I remember as an athlete getting to meet Dr. Capilouto at his first press conference.
Oh,
that's cool.
And it was a big deal when he came on board, and just to see what's happening here, being a land grant institution and really kind of leaning into that agricultural thing has been really cool to see the university embrace.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, we've been working in the agricultural industry and, working with our, spirits manufacturers in this state for over 150 years, creating student pipelines, now having the lab space, the capabilities to really experiment and to teach in a more hands-on fashion. It's extremely enriching environment for our students and for our faculty. And, to your point, Dr. Capilouto was a huge part of that and making that a reality for us. So super excited.
Now we just need to get the mayor and the rest of the state of Kentucky to invest in infrastructure to get people around the city a little bit better.
Roads.
They say before the football games, all roads lead to Lexington. They do. It just all roads lead to Lexington in a traffic jam.
Right. That's right. Not a lot.
That's right.
Not the easiest path.
No.
So we've walked down memory road. Sorry, Scott, you Colonel.
Proud Eastern Kentucky University.
Yeah, exactly.
We love our partners down there.
They're right down the road.
For sure.
They're doing agricultural things.
Yeah.
For sure. But for those who don't know, can you explain a little bit about what the Estate Whiskey Alliance is?
Oh, man. Well, I like to start with a story. And that story begins with, it wasn't our idea. I mentioned earlier, we've been working with our partners in the spirits industry and our farming communities for many, many years. And it was brought to our attention that there's a whole category of whiskey that's extremely important, but is largely undefined. That's estate whiskey. I think there's kind of a renewed interest and focus. I think there's some distilleries out there who've created a whole identity around the idea of estate and its importance and terroir. So they came to us because, we're a trusted resource here in Kentucky. Obviously, the bourbon industry is massive here. And we have, the infrastructure and the resources to support. So they asked us originally to create a certification program. So let's create a definition around this. You guys have the resources to facilitate this. Would you want to do that? My boss, Ian McClure, our vice president of innovation, had a conversation with him early days when I first got back to my role here at the University of Kentucky, and I said, let's do this. I mean, this makes a ton of sense. Now, I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about the big picture here, right? Of course, the certification program made a lot of sense to us, but what an amazing opportunity to reinvest in research and education in this space to kind of give back to our members, give back to our communities. So that was kind of the origins of the Alliance, kind of this idea of, we can do more together if we're focused and willing to roll up our sleeves and make this a reality. So to answer your question, the Estate Whiskey Alliance was born from a need to fill this, gap in definition, to really provide a whole new level of transparency to consumers of estate products, to know, through and through the ingredient sourcing, where it comes from, and really emphasize the importance of place. So, I say that and it makes it sound like it was really easy. It wasn't. It took a lot of convincing to our folks here at the university. It's kind of, a very different way to engage in our partners, but we're glad to go fight that fight. And at the end of the day, everyone up all the way up to Dr. Capilouto was very supportive, and we launched the Alliance in August of last year, in fact. So it's been a real
yeah.
That's awesome.
So as you all kind of look forward to, you've created the certification program, you've launched that. What does that look like for you all moving forward, right? You talked about creating awareness. How do you all go about creating more awareness or recruiting new partners?
Yeah, I mean, doing things like this, first of all, reaching out to people like you all that have a great following in the industry is one big way. We're trying to go to conferences and participate in trade shows, really just talking to people. I think our next big undertaking is going to be talking to the trade, which is something that our members have told us that they think would be a good next step. We are a member-led alliance, so we try to look at them of what do you all want to see us do next? What do you want to see your resources go towards? And that's something that they requested. So connecting with bartenders and distributors and people other than distilleries, so that we're raising awareness of certified products as much as we're raising awareness of the alliance. It's we want to be able to balance both and make sure we're promoting both equally, because the Alliance isn't only open to distilleries, it's open to farmers, to adjacent businesses, to suppliers. And so making sure that we're reaching all those areas is really important to us.
Yeah, I think it's important to add here, and credit to Alexa for this, but, early days we were, doing some research, trying to figure out, okay, where are these folks that are, really focused on estate, they're growing their own grains, they're controlling the processes, where are they? And, we were picking up the phones, we were, sending emails, but over the course of, the last year plus, a lot of the work that we've done in telling our story, getting picked up by Forbes magazine or some of these other outlets has really paid off, because two things have happened. First, we've exceeded 1 billion impressions in the first year of media. So whether that's, again, online articles, social media posts, and so forth. So that would cost somebody a whole lot of money to receive that level of impressions. And part of that is, the grit that we've kind of put into it. But more than that, I really believe it's because people care. They're really interested. And, we joke around. We've not had too many doors slammed in our face, when we're talking to people and trying to raise awareness. Everyone's genuinely interested. They get it. So we're pretty proud of that. And, as for our approach, I was talking about picking up the phone, sending emails. Well, it's kind of, started to be a more sustainable process, because now people are contacting us. Yeah. I was mentioning at our annual members meeting on Friday that the narrative has gone from what is the Estate Whiskey Alliance to, I've heard of the Estate Whiskey Alliance. So what are you guys doing? Yeah. So anyway, that's a little bit about.
Yeah. We also let certified products kind of speak for themselves. So like Black Fox is one of our members. They have certified products, and they actually just won Worldwide Whiskey Producer of the Year, and that was an estate whiskey certified product. So like that's an awesome way to get the word out there, to show that these whiskeys, are credible, and that our certification program is correct.
We were down at Makers. Dr. Blake Layfield spent quite a few minutes during our podcast talking about why it's important to have estate grown products. One, because they control the variables at that point in time. So now they control the inputs just as much as they do the outputs. And so I think those things are really big, because, we always talk about quality in, quality out in a variety of different things, but we've never really talked about the quality of ingredients or controlling all the variables from an ingredient perspective going in. We just know that most Kentucky bourbon producers get yellow dent #2 corn from a variety of people within 100 miles. Yeah, that's all we know.
Maybe if you're lucky. It's
Yeah.
100. It's usually like 500.
Corn probably. Everything else, who knows?
I mean, rye's coming from wherever, and malt's coming from wherever, right? This allows you to control a lot more variables, which then, leads to, I think, where the consumer's going, fewer, bigger, better products.
Right.
So that's really interesting.
You nailed it. And, I'm glad you brought up Blake, because, that at Maker's Mark and those guys out there, there's that level of control, but it's also the focusing in on the details and experimentation. Like it's, a lot of our members, and we were talking about this last week, highly innovative, highly experimental. They want to control some of those variables, experiment a little bit. We were talking about the phrase earlier. They're doing all kinds of neat single grain stuff out there to really demonstrate and indicate to their clientele and their customers that grains matter, the ingredients matter. And we, not only do we believe that, we are now starting to realize and know that through some of the research that's going on here, at the James B. Beam Institute and the University of Kentucky, but even in scientific literature, I think they're starting to uncover the genetic attributes to grains and variables in genetics that are influenced by the environment, influenced by place, that really impact flavor and aromatic profiles of whiskey products. So to me, it's the tip of the iceberg. I think there's so much more that we can learn and do and control, and our partners are leading the way.
Yeah, and it also doesn't hurt having Maker's Mark, one of the world's most recognizable whiskey bourbon brands. And I have to say whiskey now, right? Because they have a wheat whiskey.
Right. Yeah.
One of the most recognizable brands, be a part of the Alliance. And then you have all the craft innovators that are a part of the Alliance as well.
100%.
Yeah, well, I think one of the cool things about the certification and the Alliance is, when we started the podcast 7 years ago or whatever, everybody was talking about like, oh yeah, we do this ourselves. But there was no way to verify that. Mm-hmm. It was just, oh yeah, we're a farm distillery. Here's our farm. Here's our distill. But now it's like there's something that they can actually attach to and actually say, we're like these other few distilleries, and we're doing something different. It's just not commodity grain. It's not a commodity whiskey product. It's something that we've poured every ounce of our blood, sweat, and tears into, from the start. The grain to glass movement. We heard that, farm distillery movement. Now it's like what actually is estate whiskey. So I think that's the coolest thing for me.
So let's describe that. Let's explain that. What is estate whiskey?
Well, we defined it, and not, Alexa and I, it's our members, right? We defined it simply as any whiskey where all production processes occur on a single estate. And also that 2/3 of all grains used in the mash bill are coming from a state owned or controlled land. Simple as that. It's something that we think makes a lot of sense. Our members, believe that makes a lot of sense too, as a definition. Remember, I talked about early days, there wasn't really a definition around this. So that was the first thing that we did, is kind of through a few tough conversations, we kind of aligned towards that. But, we're taking it a step further too, beginning next year with our certification program. So if anybody listening, if you're looking for estate whiskey certified products, we have a mark that can be found on the bottle, like Scott was talking about earlier. It says estate whiskey certified. That's how you know that it's authentic, authentically estate whiskey, and it's been certified by a third party, which is us. But beginning next year, we're going to take transparency to the next level, and that's we're going to include a number next to the estate whiskey certified mark that indicates the total percent of grains coming from the estate. Provides a new level of complexity to the products. I think we're going to see variations year to year because you have good years, good harvest, and you have bad years. And I think that's just going to make the products even more interesting, and folks will have more options, I think, to try a new vintage or a new series of whiskey products.
So you said those were some hard conversations about the 2/3 makeup. I mean, we've also seen, like with American single malt, like all the input about that. It was like, well, it doesn't quite count for us, but it might work for these. So how did you guys kind of land on that? Is it all it was member driven?
Yeah, everything we do is member involved, member driven. Our alliance, we really want to have them involved. And if they haven't been as involved as they have been, we wouldn't be as far along as we are now in the first year. I mean, just standing up the certification program took us about 6 months, through a lot of tough conversations, getting through the definition phase of that. But again, it was our members, that are helping shape that and helping us define it. And we're happy to facilitate and enforce it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think in meetings since then, when we've met with distilleries and shared that that's how we define estate whiskey, it's been pretty well accepted. Even people that aren't able to meet it kind of understand, are like, yeah, I mean, it's a high standard and we don't meet it, but maybe we will one day. So reach back out in 6 years. And so I feel like it's been cool to see it push people to become even more estate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and that's the question I have. How does one go about going to be a part of this, right? Because obviously not every grain to glass distillery is a part of the alliance yet, right? Mm-hmm. That's the ultimate goal. How does one distillery or producer become part of this process?
Yeah, it's as simple as contacting one of us.
Yeah, we have a little join button on our website, and it shoots an automatic email to me. So
yeah. And what we typically like to do is have a conversation, get to know folks better, make sure it's the right fit. We talk about the value proposition of being a member of the alliance. Obviously, having access to the certification program, access to the committee work that we're doing in certification, research and education, and in marketing. Again, those are all member involved, member influenced. And then there's a quick little form to fill out, just to become a member. And then that's that. We get folks plugged in and involved. And, I should mention too, we're a non-for-profit organization. So we reinvest everything back into the alliance. And, after our first year, we were glad to have a balance left over. And we've invested now into 2 research projects here at the University of Kentucky that are member involved and with benefits going directly towards our members.
No, I think that's amazing. Because there's a couple distilleries that come to my mind that we've met with over the years. Corbin Cash, or obviously Starlight right across the way in Louisville, that are doing a lot of their own, farming.
Yeah.
It'd be cool to see, going back through our list, who could be part of
Who's
this?
eligible?
Yeah, who's eligible?
Yeah.
Yeah, I should mention too, it's not just for distilleries. I mean, one of our founding members is Peterson Farms here in Kentucky. And again, great partners, very innovative, and have been with us from the get-go. And Lallemand Biofuels and Spirits is another one of our non-distillery members. Like, there's just a lot of folks that have, vested interest in this movement, if you will, and want to be involved and want to be a part of the journey.
No, 100%. So as you all seen, I'm sure you've done some market research, and you talked about getting out to bars, and obviously part of that would be talking to the 3-tier system as well, right? Your Southern Glazers and Republic Nationals of the world. Like, how do they see this as they go out and try to sell this to the bartenders? Because, we obviously certified organic or whatever, right? We're talking about agriculture. This is an agricultural product. How are people absorbing that part of it?
So I think it's been interesting. We have no official research yet because it's so new. We're working on that right now, but we have a lot of anecdotal information. And something one of our members, Whiskey Acres, shared at our annual members meeting last week was that they've been, all their stuff is certified. And so they've switched from being not certified to certified, and everything that's been going to their distributor is certified, which I think they're with Republic National. And they asked them, when are we going to see more of this? When can we get more brands on? Is there a way to get these brands specifically? So that's been good to see interest out of distributors, because that means that ultimately that the stores are having interest, that trickle down. So that's been good. And then also one of the research projects that we funded is about consumer perception of the mark, and part of the consumers that are being studied are bartenders. So that'll help to give us some insight of what do people really think about this? And then also when we're at conferences, our plan is to ask people when you see estate whiskey certified, what's your immediate reaction to that?
Yeah. I think a lot of the work that we're doing too is just aligning on the narrative and how we talk about the certification across multiple distilleries, and that we're consistent in doing that. To get our messaging right. A lot of the stuff that we do is kind of on the pull-through side. Today, hopefully some of your listeners learn about the Estate Whiskey Alliance and our certified products and get curious about it and go ask about it at their local retailer. We're also hearing some really cool anecdotes, as Alexa mentioned, in the tasting rooms. Our members all have signage up there. It's an interesting talking point. People get to, tell their story about a state, the flavor of place, and what it means to them and their products. In terms of distributors, we've not kind of started that journey yet. I think that we're helping our members by aligning on the narrative and the work that we're doing on our outreach and pull through. But would love to work, a little more closely with them. I've heard some interesting ideas around, what can the Alliance do to help kind of bundle some of these products, if you will, and maybe there's a distributor that would be interested in working with them in that capacity. But I mean, you could imagine kind of an estate whiskey certified portion on, the shelf at one of the retailers. I mean, I think that would be really neat to see different types of whiskeys all having that certification to indicate, truly authentic, flavor of place.
For sure. I mean, organic's got its own section at Kroger. Why can't a certified whiskey have its own section at
So let's put that on the list.
Liquor Barn?
Put it on the list.
Put it on the list. And you've talked about this. We've talked about this on the podcast a lot, is understanding a sense of place. So many times we pick up, we're in the James B. Beam Institute, somebody's picked up a bottle of white label wherever they are in the world, right, at that point, and they're like, it takes them back to Kentucky, right? It's like these producers and these partners that you all have are a sense of place, whether it's Fallon, Nevada, or middle of nowhere, Canada, or Illinois and Whiskey Acres, right? Like, how do you all help them tell that story of transporting the consumer who may be in Buffalo, New York, that's picking up a Frey Ranch, to help them understand what's happening in Fallon?
Yeah, I would say we're working together on it.
Yeah.
A lot of these guys, especially the ones that you just mentioned, they've been doing this, Whiskey Acres, Frey's, others, you're talking about Black Fox up in Saskatoon, Canada. Like, this is part of their identity. And, they've been telling this story, but it's been in the context of their own brand and what they're doing. And I think one of their draws to this alliance is that, again, by working together, high tide lifts all boats, and it really raises the profile of their efforts and the work that they're doing, because this isn't easy. It's not the easy way to do things. In fact, it's extremely hard. And, we find, it's kind of hard to get in touch with our members a lot of times because they're in the fields and, something broke down. And,
running the tractor.
Yeah, and I love that. I love it. But to answer your question, it's really kind of working together to raise that profile. And I think it means something different when it's not just them talking about their own brand or why they believe in estate practices and why it's important to them to grow their own grains, when they can take a step back and see that, okay, well, this has a meaning across the globe, in fact.
Yeah.
Our alliance is open to not just, American and Canadian distilleries. We'd love to expand into Europe, the UK, and Japan. We've got trademarks filed in all those jurisdictions, certification marks in those jurisdictions. So that's our plan. Just imagine you got a Irish whiskey, a Scotch whiskey, a Japanese whiskey, an American whiskey. That's really cool to know that they're very distinctly different. They have their own unique brand and purpose, but they have that one characteristic that's common across all of them, which is their estate certification.
Well, it's kind of like a full circle thing. It's like, this is the way whiskey used to be done.
Exactly.
Right? Especially like in Scotland, where the sense of place is everything. They talk about where in Scotland was this whiskey made, so now we're getting back to that. It's not just the, the commodity of, it's just distilled here, but no, it came from this farm.
Right.
Just think you could be a bottled and bond and estate whiskey. You would have like the highest tier.
And organic.
Yeah.
Wow.
Bam, bam, bam.
Yeah.
Those are the things like people always are like, how many gold stars can I put on my bottle?
Gluten-free.
Gluten-free.
Yeah.
Yes. No,
That's right.
Not. But, the other thing I think about is you all are sitting in a large agricultural school as well, right? How does it look like for you all to go, look at your crop teams that, you all are working at, or, the food sciences component of this, and kind of like cross-pollinate the alliance, not just, hey, whiskey's obviously there, but like they're dipping their toe in a lot of the part of the process, because if we didn't have agriculture, we don't have whiskey. So like, have you thought about how this expands outside of just the distilling institute, but into like the larger college as a whole?
So glad you asked. So actually, there was a lot of this research going on before the Alliance ever existed.
Cool.
And it's something that we don't get to talk about a lot. And I'd love to like even talk to our faculty one day about it. But Dr. Dave Van Sanford and Dr. Chad Lee and a few other faculty here were already working with places like Maker's Marks and other farms around central Kentucky about how does the flavor of the crop impact the flavor of the whiskey, and breeding different whiskey breeds and varieties. And so it's something that was already going on before. And so I think it's natural that it'll just continue throughout, and like it'll help, the EWA can help be a springboard forward for more research into other industries too. And it's been great to leverage that connection with the College of Ag here and work with those faculty and learn from them, because they were already doing it anyway.
Yeah, that's what I love, the fact that we're getting to the point of like, this is ultimately, we've taken grain and to produce something, but we're getting back to like what the actual thing is, right? Like there's kind of a little bit of a reversal in a sense of we've been so much focused on the service and the end product. We've not focused on like how it was produced. And so now we're kind of like going back to like manufacturing times almost, and talking about that process, which I think we've gotten so online and we've just forgotten about like what it looks like to go pick up some dirt or walk through, a field of grain. Maybe not everyone's gotten to do that. I have a couple times in my life. I think people want that experience. They want more than just what's in the bottle. They want to know the story.
Right. Yeah. We even have a fellow, Emily Marsh, who's doing some research about no-till and the effect of the crops and the flavor down the line of no-till versus till and different cover crops, and how what cover crop can affect the flavor and how the plant grows differently. So it's been, there's so much research that can be done. Like our biggest problem is trying to figure out what research to fund as an alliance.
Focus.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. That's a good thing to have, though. It's a good problem to have.
It is. And, we talked a little bit about the research, but, Alexa touched on another very important thing about what we do, which is getting students involved. So I think we've had, 4 ag students?
I think, Yeah,
fellows so far?
4 and then a product design.
Yeah.
So 5 total.
Yeah. So it's really important for us to provide these experiences, real world challenges and problems to these students. Also give them exposure to our members. In fact, we've had one of our, fellows a couple of years ago was hired by Peterson Farms and works for them now. So that's hugely important for us. We get a lot of benefit out of it because they're doing really good work and research. And then our partners get, really neat access to the agricultural talent pipelines coming out of the university.
Yeah. And you're not just helping them certify. Like if someone, you can help them kind of dream out like their entire portfolio a little bit, like in partnership with the Institute, right?
Yeah. I mean, certainly there's a lot of distilleries out there and grain farmers that run a lot of experiments here with the James B. Beam Institute. Whether it's just, doing some sample runs, with particular grains, to provide them, those samples in return. It's like it's a really great place to experiment. And not everybody has the happy to do that, here at the James B. Beam Institute. This is a great group to work with. We love working with them. I feel like we're, kind of joined at the hips, with the EWA stuff but yeah, we're just, it's the largest academic distillery in the world. It's a treasure here in Kentucky and in the whole world. There's nothing like it out there.
Yeah, it's really cool because there wasn't much happening right here when I was in school, 14 years ago.
There's probably some tailgating.
There was.
On Saturdays.
There was
right
definitely
here,
tailgating here. Yeah.
On this spot. Yeah.
On this spot in particular. Yeah. I mean, my entire life, like we parked in the orange lot for a while. We've been in the doctor's office. We've tailgated at this doctor's office right across the street down the way.
Oh, yeah.
For many years as well. And it's just cool to see the university continue to transform and continue to push forward, right? I think for the longest time, it felt like for 4 years, it just kind of felt static. And so like to see the investment back into the state in the explosion of growth at the university in a variety of different areas has been great to see because we know that our universities, and it happened in Louisville too. I'm not going to just pee on little brother.
They're doing good stuff too.
They do some things.
Little brother.
Yeah, little brother. Always little brother. But anywho, they're doing some good things, and the rest of the institutions. But like to see the investment back into the state of Kentucky has been great, and to see Lexington just kind of take off. And bourbon's been a big, huge part of that, which has been really cool.
Absolutely. No, it has been, and it's kind of like all these kind of things converged at the same point in time, and with the construction here, the James B. Beam Institute, setting up the certificate program. I think we learned earlier that there's 160 students involved right now in the accredited certification program here. Alexa is a product of that. We're fortunate to have her, back from the spirits industry and working with us. But yeah, it just kind of all happened at once. It's the investment in the infrastructure, obviously at the university that we talked about earlier, but also the movement of, bourbon and the growth of bourbon, and certainly just whiskey in general over the last several years. Now granted, it's probably acclimating a little bit from kind of the record, years we were having, but which is fine. But I think the other point of that too is that the work that we're doing here, and at both the James B. Beam Institute and through the Estate Whiskey Alliance, really kind of elevates the state in a different way. To work with folks that are, distilleries in Nevada. Hold on, Nevada.
Colby is shaking in his.
I know. I caught it. Or Saskatoon, or just the conversations that we get to have day in, day out is really cool. So it is about the state and what we're doing here, our origins and our roots. We're very happy and proud of that. But also it's really cool to see Kentucky and the university here working beyond the borders and across the globe.
Yeah, for sure. So, Alexa, I'll let you give your pitch here, right? How does one find out more about this? What is next for you all to be out in the market, for people to come and find you all? Where is EWA going to be over the next couple months?
So I think immediately you can always go to our social medias. Our website is a great place to find some information. We are working with another one of our student fellows to revamp our website. So maybe wait a few weeks and then go to our website. Actually, it's going to be way better.
Hold on, this will air.
Oh,
in a
yeah,
couple
by the
weeks.
time
So,
this airs.
Perfect.
Yeah, please.
So go there now.
Check out the new
Check it
website.
out. Check it out.
Statewhiskey.org.
Go to the website. And then after that, I mean, our contact information is everywhere, but we're going to be at the Discus Conference, which is in Louisville in early March, and then also the Beam Conference, which is mid-March here at UK's campus. So I think those are some easy ways to connect with us. But I mean, we're always down for a phone call, a Zoom, whatever it needs to be.
Awesome. Well, I'm excited for the next few years and how you all grow and develop, because the things that we've tried that are estate whiskey certified have been nothing short of phenomenal. And so I know that the distillers and the producers are leaning into it, and I'm just glad that you all have spent time, energy, and effort to make it happen.
Yeah, I mean, it's our pleasure. I mean, this is so much fun that we get to do this. I think it's really impactful work and meaningful work, which makes it even more gratifying. And we've got more members in the pipeline. We've got more certifications in the pipeline. We're going to be launching some new programs next year that aim to make the Alliance grow, be more accessible, certification program to be more accessible, and we're happy to do that. As I mentioned, we're a non-for-profit, so we're just always trying to find ways to reinvest to create the most impact for our partners. And the more folks that we have involved that believe in kind of what our mission and what we're doing, to have more certified products, I think it just raises the profile for all the other members. So there's truly power in numbers here.
100%. And just to tease everyone, we will be doing a part 2 with some of their partner distilleries and doing a little bit of a roundtable. So make sure you are locked into the Bourbon Lens for that. We want to say thank you for spending time. Happy Thanksgiving, even though this is going to be after Thanksgiving. I want to say happy Thanksgiving to you all.
Thanksgiving to you guys.
We're thankful for the work that you all are doing, and we're thankful for bourbon and whiskey and rye and all the other whiskeys in the world. And we will catch you all next time. Cheers.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Bourbon Lens. Make sure you're connected with Scott and I via social media on Instagram, X, and Facebook. We'd love to connect. And if you're more the professional type, follow us over on LinkedIn. If you want to know more about Bourbon Lens, make sure you're subscribed to our weekly newsletter, The Weekly Pour. For exclusive content and more, check out Patreon. Follow us there at Bourbon Lens. And last but not least, on your favorite podcast listening app, make sure you're subscribed, because every Monday, Scott and I release a podcast, and we would love to have you here listening to the newest features and the newest whiskey news. And until next time, cheers.